My problem with DeAndre Ayton is you have to have a gun to his head to play any kind of serviceable defense. Not plus defense, serviceable defense. I don't think he likes basketball. All right, welcome to the channel. I'm Jay, new contributor helping out on Clutch Talk Pod, and wanted to add some value, get into something a little different than my homie John usually gets into. And today, this is one of my favorite topics, worst contracts in the league. I want to put a few players on blast, a few situations on blast, and have some fun with it. So before I can give you my top 5 worst contracts in the league with a couple honorable mentions, I think it's important to first define what is a bad contract and what are some of the biggest variables that you need to take into account when you're sizing up how bad somebody's stuff is or how backed into a corner a team is. And the first one is duration. Those longer contracts that go out to 4 and 5 years, they can be the worst contract in the league with 4 or 5 years left. And then as that contract transitions to 1 or 2 years left, they might not even make the list. And they can even turn into positive value even when the player is not even contributing on the court. Not to spoil one of the players I'm finna talk about. The second aspect of a bad contract, I think, is replacement value. If you have a player making $30 million and you can turn around and go get that 90% of that production for $12 million, that highlights a very bad situation because you're essentially misallocating, $15, $20 million that can be rerouted somewhere else. So in my opinion, replacement value, namely skill sets, unique skill sets, and replacement value is number 2 at the forefront. What else makes a bad contract is somebody's age in relation to the team peaking, right? I call attention to when CP3, the year that the Suns made the finals, it was 21, 22, whenever that was. And he had a contract year right after the Suns made the finals. And he was vital to the Suns even getting there and helping them change some of that winning culture. But homeboys, 36, 37, 38, and you're talking about giving him almost $30 million a year. And that was just based off of his production declining. I mean, that's just, that was not prudent. That was not smart. And when you had enough time to kind of pivot and prepare for the decline, you didn't have to lean into it and give them bad money on the back end just to keep it going for one more year. So age in relation to the rest of the team. And then the last thing is more so strengths and weaknesses, right? So if you have too much talent in the wing and you're devoid of a solid big man, or you're missing a playmaker or perimeter defender, some of that talent can be just superfluous. It's not needed. So without further ado, let's get it. All right, honorable mentions. Didn't quite make the top 5, but these are still pretty bad. I wanted to single out a few of these guys here and just talk about their contracts because it's the opportunity cost of what else you could have spent this bread on. First up, everybody who would expect to be top 5 worst contracts in the league. He has been for the last 2 to 3 years the runaway winner, Ben Simmons. But he is effectively removed from the top 5 because he is going into the last year of his deal. He's going to have a big $40 million that will be expiring at the end of the 24-25 season. It will actually turn into a commodity. There's players like Evan Fournier, CP3, who ain't going to be worth the 18 million and 30 million respectively that those two have non-guaranteed contracts for, but they may get opted into just because they want to be used as trade fodder in the offseason. So when you talk about players that are set to not make much of any contribution on the court next year, but are still valued human trade exceptions, basically, that's where Ben Simmons comes into play. So yeah, $40 million. Is he even going to be a $10 million player next year? I doubt it. Next honorable mention, Michael Porter Jr. Now, he has 3 years after this, totaling over almost $115 million. I question, I'm like, if you're 6'10", 6'11", and you're a sniper and you're a sharpshooter, but then you don't do the other 6'11" things, 6'10" things, like somebody like KD do. He can play defense. He can play at the 4, at the 5, in addition to the unicorn abilities that he has. Michael Porter Jr., I mean, like, you swap him out for Duncan Robinson, and my question is how much is he really going to give you and grow into that $35-40 million a year that he's making? I could be wrong. There's still a little bit of an opportunity to grow. Bruce Brown is not there, but we're talking about a $35-36 million price tag next year. And if they have depth issues and some of those young boys in the rotation don't contribute, that's a bad contract. You juxtapose that to Naz Reid. Naz Reid, if you look at, let me try to find these stats. Naz Reid, first off, makes less than half of what he does with the extra year lopped off. He's averaging about $13 million a year. You get into some of these numbers are super similar. He plays a couple more minutes. Let's look at their per 36. Per 36 minutes, their points is 1 and what? Their total rebounds is 1 and what? Their assists is 1 and what? Their 3-point shooting actually edges out to Naz Reid at the same attempt rate. This is pretty bizarre. They're about the same height. Maybe I think Naz is about an inch or so stated height. But just look at this. This is ridiculous here. I'm gonna put this up here on the screen for y'all. Again, Naz Reid, $45 million, $42 million over the next 3 years. If you count this year, Naz Reid makes $28 million over the next 2 years after this year. Michael Porter Jr., about $115 million over 3 years after this year. So we put them up neck and neck, and I mean, you see what it is. Again, now that's cherry picking one of the better values in the league up against what I perceive as one of the worst, but that's an honorable mention right there. All right, first on my list, coming in at number 5 for the 5th worst contract in the league. Started off hot. Jaylen Brown. Yes, I said it. Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, to be clear, I think Jaylen Brown is a $30 million player on a team like the Hawks or the Orlando Magic or the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know what they would give up to get him, but Jaylen Brown, $35 million player. I think he's better than Zach Lavine. He's better than a lot of wings in the league. The problem is he might be the 10th or 12th, maybe 14th best wing in the league, which would start on he would start and be the wing on at least 20 teams, right? He's tough. He's solid. I like him. But when you're the number 2 wing on your own team, but you're getting paid 31 this year, 32, just under 32, and then you get 5, count them, 5 New Year's at $270 million? Like, this is bonkers. This is bananas. You look at his numbers. I mean, look at his numbers. Jaylen Brown, 22 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, shooting 34% from the three. Effective field goal percentage, 55%. Habitually, I am seeing numbers where they're losing in a close competitive game, and he's got 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and it's just like, damn, they played 35 minutes. He played 35 minutes. And like half of me complaining has nothing to do with him. It's that Jason Tatum eats first. Drew Holiday is the lead guard. Porzingis commands attention. He commands touches. He's going to penetrate the defense in a way Jaylen Brown can't. Like I don't understand why people don't understand this. Like make it make sense for me, please. Why does a dude get I'm gonna leave it alone. He's number 5. Again, for the record, he is a $35 million a year player on the right team, not a $55 million player on the wrong team. All right, my man Zach Lavine coming in at number 4. This one is funny because this is one of those situations where the players are rolling into a bad contract, a negative value, underwater contract before the extension even kicks in. So what I mean by that, when I look at Zach Lavine, yeah, his numbers are, what is this? Almost just under 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Effective field goal percentage is at 53%. So he's shooting about 35% on threes. And the gist of it here is that he is making superstar money. It was $40 million this year, 43, then 46, and then to finish it off, a player option in 26, 27. I think he's going to make sure he opts into that one. 26, 27, again, making $49 million. The problem is opportunity cost here. What could you have spent that money on? There's 2 guards in the league. I could run down the list. Your Anthony Simons. I'm not a big fan of Tyler Hero, and Jordan Poole's name is Boo Boo. But they, just because of their years and experience in the league, make about 60% of what he does. And you could even go further down the line and go look at players like Terry Rozier. This is ridiculous how much money this guy makes on this team. If he topped off a team like Miami, fit like a glove on the court, was you're stealing money or rookie contracts like Jaime Jaquez, and you're getting good cheap labor and production, then Zach Lavine might actually fit and earn that $40 million in the right situation. The truth is he's a $25 million player, healthy and on the right team, but he's making $40 million, 3 more guaranteed years on the wrong team. Coming in at number 3, my man, Domantas Sabonis. Man, he's having a good year. He is having a good year. 20 points a game, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. These are career numbers homeboy's putting up. Don't let that 42.6% on the three-pointer fool you. That's 1 attempt a game. I'm not even sure he believes he's a good three-point shooter. Sabonis was set to make, I don't know, $18, $20 million a year, give or take. And the Kings had some leftover cap space after their offseason was over for this upcoming year. So they decided to dump some extra bread on him to entice him to re-sign an extension. So renegotiation, add $10 million to your current expiring salary this year, and then lop on another 4 years, $200 million. So let's recap here. Sabonis is a monster on the boards. He's actually facilitating offense better than he did even last year. And last year was a career year. Super solid. He is a stat stuffer. But how did this season end last year? The Warriors left him at the free throw line extended. He can't shoot threes. He ain't got no left hand. Is it left? He only goes left. I'm sorry. My bad. He only goes left. So if he's giving up buckets, I mean, if he's giving up all the goodies on the inside, can't shoot the three, chokes on the free throw line extended when they give it to him. And he's proven Miles Turner is one of the best defensive centers in the league, and that didn't work. So if you can't put Miles Turner next to him, then what do you put to try to sew up that defense? I don't like the idea of him against Jokic for sure. The Warriors proved that they can, poke a hole in that. And then don't let the Mavs or somebody else. They paid him a 4-year extension over almost $185, $190 million over the next 4 years after this year. Like, that is crazy bananas. To be clear, Sabonis is a 15, maybe $20 million a year player. And they're paying him twice that. That's good for number 3 on this list. DeAndre Ayton, number 2, for sure. I want to put him number 1, but we saved that one. There's somebody special there in that top spot. DeAndre Ayton, number 2, if I didn't let you guys know that. This guy is averaging 13.8 points a game, 10 rebounds, 10.5, okay, yeah, and 1.7 assists. Has not taken a three-pointer all season. And how many foul attempts how many free throws has he shot total this whole year? Hold on. Let me put this out here. This dude has shot 47 free throws all season. All season. And he has played 31 minutes a game. 31. I'm going to leave that alone. All right. So my problem with DeAndre Ayton is that he don't shoot threes. My problem with DeAndre Ayton is you have to have a gun to his head to play any kind of serviceable defense. Not plus defense, serviceable defense. I don't think he likes basketball. And he is getting paid currently $32.5 million a year. He's getting paid $70 million over the next 2 years. I don't even like to put players on this list with 2 years left, but that is bad. That is bad. You can get players for that production. You can get players under $10 million a year for that production. One of my favorite guys is Daniel Gafford. I'm going to put these guys up neck and neck. So these are their actual numbers right here I'm putting on the head-to-head. But we got to measure them per 36. So per 36, points 1 and what? Steals 1 and what? Rebounds 1 and what? Both a little over 11 a game per 36. Daniel Gafford, 3 blocks. I mean, Daniel Gafford's a beast protecting the paint. And he's changing shots too. He actually cares when he's out there. So never mind you the fact that Daniel Gafford, I'm sorry, he's on Dallas right now. Daniel Gafford makes $12.5 million this year, and he makes $27 million over the next 2, as opposed to DeAndre Ayton 70 for the next 2. Enough said. The number 1 whipping boy coming in at the top spot for the win is my man, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, I don't even need to say too much about him. See Zach Lavine. What number? Let's see. He was at number 4. I think I had him at. Everything applies to Bradley Beal that applies to Zach Lavine. new bad contract before the extension even kicked in. 2 guard, you can go get low budgets, some Jordan Clarkson, some Anthony Simons, some Tyler Hero even. I'd even mess with Jordan Poole, taboo to say, I know, but I'd mess with Jordan Poole over him because at least I think that I could salvage something out of Jordan Poole. The number one reason why people seem to forget, he still holds the no trade clause, still holds the team hostage. They can't do nothing without asking Bradley Beal. Like the one, maybe 2 teams that you might be able to coax into taking him. Yeah, you got to run that right by him. And what's he going to say? Is it Miami? Is it the Lakers? I think I'm good. Like, come on, man. That is ridiculous. And to be clear, let's put it up for the fans to see. Bradley Beal makes $46.7 million this year. And over the next 3 years, it's $160 million over the next 3 years. He's an undersized shooting guard. His back is hurt every other week. I'm not mad at the guy. He took the money. The Wizards offered him that no trade clause. And then the Suns came through and traded for it. My dumbass, I thought that once he waived the no trade clause once, that at least Phoenix could turn around and trade him at their discretion. Yeah, no. He still needs to be asked. Run that by him. Like, that's ridiculous. Top spot, undisputable. I don't know how anybody, like, the real way you gauge this, who would take Bradley Beal right now? I'm not sure. It's definitely less than one hand. And then by the time you turn around and have to ask him, negative value is an understatement. That wraps it up. I want the smoke. Shoot us on Clutch Talk Pod on Twitter or my direct handle at HotTakeJ408. It don't matter. I want to hear from you guys, and you can shoot some holes in my train of thought, but he's pretty undisputable. I mean, if somebody comes at me for Ben Simmons, I can't even hold you on it. But yeah, man, we're here for it, and I appreciate your time today, listening to me put some of these dudes on blast and their badass contracts.